How's it going, Margies? It's Artifact, and today we are going to talk about my latest release, Shakuhachi. I'm just going to go over the master file and give you a couple of little tips on it, because I did a really wicked lesson yesterday, one-on-one. Shout out my man, Warren Puffett. And we actually went in my track project and looked in, how I did a lot of the transitions and talked about the arrangement and the structure of the song. And he asked a lot of great questions. I wanted to show you guys the project, but it was so full, Logic just kept crashing, and so I'm just going to talk about the song on the master now, and just give you like a few of my personal insights into kind of like track structuring, and let's see how I did this one. So if I kind of break it down, I break things down into like 16 bar loops pretty much. So if we see how many we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then a little outro. So kind of like 9.5 sections. Now in each, the track is in length. It's only, if you go up to the end here, 3 minutes and 34 seconds long, which is pretty long considering the TikTok generation and world that we live in today. I have really big respect for people who make songs longer than 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Going against the grain, I've always been trying to go against the grain all my life. But just good luck is all I'm going to say, because people have the attention span of, well, I want to say goldfish, but that would be a compliment to most people. So I'm just kind of being a bit mean and messing here, but I like the challenge of making a song which is shorter, like 3 minutes, but making every part different and having lots of changes and just really trying to engage and captivate the listener so that they want to like hear the whole 3 minutes. And then like if it's really great, that 3 minutes, they want to re-listen to it. And if you're DJing as well, you don't really need to be mixing 5 minutes of a song, I suppose. But yeah, if we just talk about like how I think about the structure, because this will help a lot of people. So my first 16, I'm just setting the atmosphere, just setting a vibe, a lot of kind of pads and lots of reverb on a lot of things.
Please select service you want.
The vocals I just threw in at the end, and I actually recorded those in Seoul, in South Korea, from a ticket machine. And I thought it sounded like a little bit kind of evil, the way she's like, please insert the amount of money at the end.
Insert amount of money.
So then this second 16, building up to the drop, all I'm doing is increasing the tension numerous ways, pitching things up, adding in more elements over time, and sort of volume automations as well, increasing volume intensity. And then right before we get to the drop, things sort of cut out a bit, so we have a little bit of a space, so when the drop hits we have like a full impact on the drop again. Now if we pay attention to like the first 16 on the drop, we actually have a lot of call and response happening, which is really important. So the call is this first long bass note which is held down, and then the response is something which is very contrasting, which is these fast kind of bass chops. So if you listen to the call, and now the response. Cheeky flute, just to remind you that music is supposed to be fun. And yeah, what we actually have in this 16 here, apart from the drop with call and response, we also then have increasing tension towards the second part of it. So in the second part, I start to introduce some more layers, some shakers and some kind of risers and an extra lead sound. And I'm building up tension again here because it's all about tension and release, ebbs and flows. And so this tension kind of rises. And then we have that release there where we sort of take out the drums, and then we go into this more chilled section which kind of just rolls along. Imagine it like a bridge, the first drop was sort of the chorus, and now we have the bridge, which is kind of like, wasting a bit of time in a way without that kind of full energy. Because if we have full energy the whole time, it won't have the same impact, because we need to have the variation. So that's why this section is a bit chilled. And then as we get towards the end of that, we can come back into some more like intensity. And this part, I just really switch it up and kind of mess with the listener's head a bit, because the groove just suddenly comes in like a new groove. It kind of changes, and yeah, it's a little bit jarring, I suppose, if you hear it the first time. But I want to captivate people's attention, so that's why I'm doing things like this that are a bit unexpected always, you know. Then we kind of return to the similar second parts of the 16 as we had on the first drop here, and then we kind of just go straight into our breakdown here, because it's quite an intense track with a lot of energy, so I don't want to keep it going for too long. So 3/16 is pretty good, you know. We need to give the listener a bit of a breath to recuperate after all that chaos. And so the second one, we just changed a few things on the build up a little bit, you know, so it's a little bit different always every section. And on this drop, we just introduced like a little bit extra chaos by adding like a kind of offbeat lead as well over the top of everything, which you can hear it kind of is a very offbeat pattern. So it's kind of a little bit of a more complex rhythmical part. And then again, like as it goes into the second part of the 16, it changes. We have this like riser coming in the background, which is sort of like heavily sidechained. It's sort of like no, 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 no. So that's adding a bit more tension there. So we get to our kind of bridge section again, which provides a bit of release in the track. And this time we've just kind of kept the vocal in and looped that to make it a little bit different from the first time we had that bridge section. And then yeah, that kind of builds up again a bit towards the end of the section here. Some kind of risers coming up as we move on to like the final 16. Similar to what we had before, but we just kind of changed the speed of the groove a little bit, so it's a bit different. A little bit of a different part of the flute sample that I hadn't used yet, just kind of change the audio length and position start time. And then yeah, we kind of just get into our outro here. A little bit of kind of reverbed, affected, weird kind of version of our kind of lead bass here. Bring back in a little bit of that Shakuhachi flute just to sort of say bye to the flute. And yeah, that's basically how I've structured it. And you know, although it's a very short track, there's a lot of changes, a lot of things happen, but they all kind of transition into each other in such a way that it kind of just works. But it's if you're a beginner at producing, it's very difficult to get all of those transitions to be right in like a short space of time, so that takes like a bit of practice. But yeah, I think it's a really nice challenge. I really enjoyed writing the track, and yeah, really I've had a great response from everyone so far, because it's been like a self-release, so I've not like paid for any promotion or used any labels, so it's just literally you guys watching my videos that listen to my music. So thank you a lot for that. Buy a cap, and then if you do, then I'll use the money to get some tutorial mugs made as well. We'll go like a merch rampage. So yeah, have a wicked weekend, guys, and I'll be back next week with some more in-depth sound design videos with Vital, most probably. Peace.